Now, the frustration of jury selection, when we can't talk about the facts of the case, now we can. And I want to start, I've got a PowerPoint to try and show you some photos and give you what I believe is a structure, because you're going to get evidence that's going to come from witness stand and documents. There'll be directs and cross-examination and another witness, and things tend to be kind of piecemeal. And I find it is respectful and helpful to the jury to give them an idea. Let me tell you where all the pieces fit from what we're suggesting. And I want to go through that. And before I start the PowerPoint, at the beginning, the foundation of this case involved a very active, very young lady, my client. And Ms. Gerlt was in a very serious crash. And as a result of that crash, it's had an impact on her baseline life. And it is likely to for the rest of her life. And that's really what we're going to be here talking about in the case. She now lives in pain in spite of what you're going to see, very serious surgery, with hope that it would remove pain and remove any limitations as to activity. That hope, while you'll see during these, we're going to show you physical therapy records, doctor's records. You're going to see that up and down, moments of hope. Looks like this is really going to work. Moments of disappointment. But now we're 2 years out, and reality has set in that she is not going to go back to her baseline from before this, which was a very active person. And you will see her efforts have not been, there will be no evidence she's just sitting around on the couch not doing anything to help herself try to get things back. She works hard. She goes to the gym over and over. She's done what she was told in physical therapy. She's tried to return to running. That didn't pan out, or jogging or whatever. She goes to the gym regularly, works hard on the muscles in the areas hurt, and stretching in an effort to get back to where she was. In spite of whatever she has done or whatever the doctors have done, they healed the bones. They have not returned her to her baseline. So with that, I want to go through some of this in this PowerPoint. And let me start with this is Aubrey.
Oh, I'm fine with all.
Okay.
Yeah, no objection.
It's just, okay. I don't want to be too informal. It's okay with
Thank you, guys.
Aubrey. With Aubrey. She was born and raised here, 16 years old at the time of the crash. She was a cheerleader, and she was very passionate about fitness. The crash happened October 21st, 2022. It happened at 7:10 in the morning. The location was out on County Road 771. She was in a Toyota Corolla headed southbound on her way to school. The defendant failed to yield to her right-of-way and turned left in her direction, in her pathway. The force of the impact knocked her unconscious. Her foot and leg were jammed under the gas pedal and the dashboard, and it took an hour for fire and rescue to extract her from the vehicle. So we're not, this is not, no evidence of this being some fender bender. In fact, that's what her car looks like. These are pictures from out at the scene. It's undisputed. Some cases we have where you have a big fight over who was at fault in the collision. That's not an issue here. It's 100% the defendant's fault, none of hers. Immediately after the crash, she was helicoptered to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg. She had a collapsed lung. It's called a traumatic pneumothorax, where a lung collapsed from it. They put a tube in to treat it. She had a fractured shaft of the right femur. It's called comminuted, simply means it wasn't a clean break. There were fragments off of it as well. And you're going to hear in this case that the femur is the largest bone in the body, and it takes a tremendous force to break it. Femur being the thigh bone on her right dominant leg. She also had a closed fracture of her left wrist. She was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury with a brain concussion. I will tell you, that she recovered from that. She had that, that's part of her initial injury. It is not part of her ongoing residual problems. She had a neck injury with swelling seen on the diagnostic imaging. She had multiple abrasions, lacerations, contusions on her right foot, which was giving her problems early on in the process, but is not the long-term significant problems. Primarily deal with what's happened with her fracture in her